Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Dudeness. Please share the show, social media. Still trucking along. I'm going to keep moving here, but hopefully the show can grow from its menial existence that it is at this moment. Yeah, gonna have some exciting stuff coming up here. I think I got some videos and done and edited. Really trying to focus more on doing podcast episodes than I am building the YouTube channel and also Odyssey now as well. I don't know if you folks are familiar with Odyssey, but yeah, it's just another video platform. Kind of gets away from the YouTube dominance, and you're kind of a little more free over there to film or provide certain content. Not that I do anything crazy, but it's just a lot less restrictive. But nevertheless, thank you for being here. Happy November. I don't know if many of you have heard of a man named James Clear. James Clear is the author of Atomic Habits, and not that I have him here on the show. I would love to, but he is the author of Atomic Habits. Basically, he has written a book and also has an app that allows you to kind of start working on building a new habit, right? So it's all in incremental steps and stuff like that. So if you are into building new habits, you can definitely read that book or get his app, and it definitely helps you. But one thing that I do is, I know it sounds strange and maybe archaic at this point, but I subscribe to a ton of newsletters that I have. I have a special email set up where all my newsletters go to. That way it's not crowding my other inbox. And, if I'm kind of bored and looking for some, I guess, inspiration or something like that, that I will go and start reading through newsletters. But one newsletter that I get every week is James Clear's 321 newsletter. And this is actually from, I think, back in June. And he discusses, so he does, 321 is, I believe it's like 3 thoughts from him, 2 quotes from someone else, and then 1 question for you. And if you're into journaling, it can be a really good resource for journaling prompts or journaling ideas. And that's kind of why I kind of subscribe to his newsletter, because at the time I was kind of getting stuck with trying to journal, coming up with ideas. But on this newsletter this week, and it looks to be June 6th, 2024, I believe, I took a screenshot of it and saved it. That's how interesting I kind of thought it was. Before I get into this, today's episode is going to, our topic today is our perception of time. My birthday is coming up. No need for applause, please. And I've noticed since I've gotten older that the joy of my birthday rolling, like I've hit that precipice. And I'm, I guess I'm not really that old, but I've hit that precipice where I'm kind of on the downside slope of getting older. And I start to dwell and get very kind of negative, but start to dwell hard on, choices I've made in the past and life experiences, and then start to look towards the future. And ultimately, I come to a time I come to a point where I realize that time for me, even though it probably isn't, but who knows, time for me is probably running out. And it really fucks with my head, like a lot. Kind of makes me a little miserable, actually. But nevertheless, I'll read the one question for you from this newsletter. So the question is, how should you measure your days? It's easy to measure your days in dollars earned or tasks completed, but there are other units of measurements to consider. What would you do today if you wanted to maximize laughter? What would you do today if you wanted to maximize time outside? What would you do today if you wanted to maximize peace of mind? What unit of measure serves you best right now? So the one thing in life that will always move forward and we can never get back is time. We can make more money. We can buy, new cars. We can, get new houses. We can take new vacations or next vacations. But we will never get time back. I feel that in my opinion, this is not from a political standpoint either. We live in a country heavily based on capitalism. We look at social media and we try to chase things that may be out of our reach. We want things. We always want more, which is always a good thing. We should always want more. We should always want better. We should always want to progress. But there's a very important balance that we have to follow. The important balance is time versus what we want, I guess. I can, if I want to buy a Lamborghini because I live in this great country, in my opinion, I have the opportunity to go work 5 jobs if I want to, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I will get that Lamborghini, right? There are ways, there are methods that I can do to acquire that car that I want. Is it worth it? That's the question. If I live in a subdivision and I'm more middle class, we even fucking have one anymore, but I gotta hold back. I'm gonna quiet down. Hold on. We see our neighbors around us. We see them bring home the new boat, the new camper, the new truck. We see all this stuff, right? It's all stuff that we want. This is what I'm discussing here is almost the essence of the Adventures in Dudeness mantra, where life is not habit, right? We don't. That's great that they have it, and it's really awesome, and I'm sure it's like the fucking coolest shit ever. So something we have to have, right? Um, and if we're going to sacrifice our time working um, endless hours, endless days, and putting our own health, physical health, mental health, family, children, um, life experiences aside to chase a tangible thing that's going to depreciate, in all honesty. There's no point. I've watched many people I know do this. They will go out and they'll buy a vehicle a camper maybe that they really can't afford, right? Brand new camper. Hey, I got this brand new camper, blah, blah, blah. It's awesome. Great. Hey, you want to go camping next weekend? Oh, I can't. I got to work. What do you mean you got to work? Why do you have to work? Well, I had to get a second job. I got to pay for the camper. Well, what the fuck is the point of having it then? Right? You can't use it. If you can't use it, why are you paying for it? You're paying to watch it sit in your fucking driveway. If that's what you want to do, go try by the camper dealership every week. And I'll be honest, I'm being kind of hypocritical right now because I work 2 jobs. My wife works 2 jobs. We definitely live beyond our fucking means, right? And we have to figure out how to manage that and kind of get our time back because before you know it, we could have serious health issues. Our kids could be grown, not know us, not have not a good reflection of their childhood. It's really something that everybody needs to kind of think about, and we need to weigh it out. And I'm not trying to be. I know this sounds very negative, very pessimistic, right? But this is the mind space that I get stuck into around this time of year. I'm approaching 40 years old. I've never owned a house, never. I've owned 1 brand new vehicle. These are all things that usually we're supposed to want, right? But when we sit back and we look at it, okay, well, I've never owned a brand new vehicle, but I've owned a nice enough vehicle, and I've had a car payment. I bought my vehicles from dealerships. They're usually used. That vehicle has served me well. It's gotten me back and forth. No, it's not the newest and greatest and doesn't have all the bells and whistles and blah, blah, blah. But it's gotten me to work. It's taken my family on trips and taken us to the grocery store and stuff like that. We are mind controlled, brainwashed. Sorry, we are brainwashed from the society that we live in. Wherever we look, every brand new car advertisement, every brand new gadget that comes out, through marketing and capitalism, we are brainwashed to trade our life for things. Don't trade your life for things. Time is of the essence, literally. You will never, ever get it back. Do not slave away your job to pay for shit that you cannot use. It makes no sense. Live within your means. Especially these days. Our economy is fucked. Groceries are extraordinarily high. Homes are extraordinarily high. But we have, especially me, I get stuck in between. What do I want? Well, my wife and I have sat and we've discussed many things. Do we buy a house here where we're at now? Do we go back to Florida and buy a house there? do we say fuck all of that and buy a gigantic camper and become nomadic and travel the country and work remotely? We have kids that come into play. But I've had a lot of kids, and I have stayed in certain places for them because we thought that was the right idea. And as we go through our parenting, as our kids get older, we realize that it's not necessarily the most important thing. It's just not. And then this is just my opinion. It may be a different opinion than you, and this is totally based on opinion. I'm proof of the pudding. Everybody I went to high school with, I don't talk to anymore. I haven't talked to them in years. I have them on Facebook. But as far as staying in a school because of lifelong friends, etc., and to be honest with you, and again, this is just my opinion, but is our public school districts these days really the place where we want our kids? I don't really want my kids in the public school district I'm in. Not from an educational standpoint, not from a social standpoint. And I don't live in a bad area. So what do we do? I got to change it, right? I got to flip around here. This is just too much of a dark cloud, and I apologize. So this is going to be therapy, I guess, for me. At the same time as doing this episode. So what do we do? What do we do to change this? Well, number one, we cut back. Cut back on things. Cut back on, as especially if you have children, as kids get older, they start to leave the house. I have a lot of fucking kids. Most of them are out of the house. I only have 2 left. What do I need to? I just need to downsize. I mean, I just went a few weeks ago and looked at. This fucking house had so many rooms in it. I couldn't even tell you. It was built in 1800. Right? It needed a lot of work. But we were thinking about purchasing this home. It had no fucking heat in it. Okay. And it was like over 4,000 square feet. It was an old, like, plantation. Well, they ain't called plantations here, but an old, like, farm. Like, I guess really it was. I mean, the house had servants' quarters in it. I mean, that's how big this fucking house was, and that's how old it was. And my wife and I are discussing, first of all, we would work on that house for the rest of our fucking lives. It needed so much shit. There were so many rooms. It was so big. Number two, it's going to cost us money to heat it, more money to heat it. And the house didn't even have fucking heat, so we had to put that in. Number three, there's only 4 of us now. What the fuck do we need that big of a house for, right? These are all the things that we needed to rationally sit down. Now, I mean, wouldn't it be awesome to own like a colonial period home that had like a ton of room? Like, yeah, it would have been cool, right? Like, I don't know. I could have started a whole new fucking thing with this old house on my own. And it had 30 acres of land with it. It had an in-ground pool. So those 2 things right there definitely appealed to me was the land that had a pond, and the pool. But a house that big, it just, the old us would have jumped all over that and would have trial by fired. But, again, There's not that many of us, and I am not going to spend the rest of my life working on a house. It's just not happening. The amount of money we would have had to put into it, we would have never been able to take another vacation ever again. So right there, cut back. Cut back, make better decisions. Yeah, you want that brand new truck? Sure, we all do. You know what? Find a used one. Find one that's a year or two old. It's going to save you money, and you still, who's going to, and that's the other thing. All these things are like a status. Who's got the bigger house? Who's got the nicer truck? Who's got who's got the toys, and it's all status. But if you have a good group of people around you, who the fuck cares? Bob Marley, his mentality, wealth is life, right? That's his idea. That was his idea. Wealth is life. Wealth is not the things that you have or the money in your bank account. Wealth is life. So, on top of that, plan that vacation. Take that camping trip. Yeah, you gotta fucking sleep in a tent. Who cares? Take it. Did it. Take lots of fucking pictures. Make memories with your family, with your kids. These are the important things. This is where, and again, just my opinion, this is where our time should go. Our time should go to things that are important. I spend time doing this podcast and some of the stuff for YouTube and that I'm working on and stuff like that. Why? Because it's important to me. This serves me. When we go on vacations, we say every year we're not going on vacation, then we end up going on vacation. We spend too much fucking money, and then we get home, we're miserable because we don't have any money. Because, there's some stupid fucking thing I gotta buy on Amazon or whatever. But I have a lot of great pictures. I have a lot of great memories. I have a lot of great stories to tell from the vacations that I've gone on. Stuff that my kids will always remember. Things that we'll look at and it'll spark a memory. And that is time well spent. Even, we drive to Florida. And some people are like, oh my God, I'm not driving now. How do you do that? It's the time. If you really want to spend time with your family, right? Put them in a car at 75 miles an hour down a highway for 24 hours. Where are they going to go? Nowhere. There's no running away. There's none of that shit. That's like travel. You're trapping them, right? It's all part of the experience. That to me is time well spent. So yeah, what can we, do, okay, so we're going to cut back. So the next thing that I was just talking about, so we're going to do, experiences over things, right? We need to experience instead of buying more things, instead of feeding the machine, I guess. And then on the next thing is, I guess save or no, because I guess that's cutting back. I guess you have to be like really humble, I suppose, to do this kind of stuff, to not be concerned with to not be concerned with things, with monetary things or tangible things. I'm not saying live in a shack, but a humble, modest living. There's definitely more value in that than some mansion. And again, I'm not saying we should ever stop moving forward. I never, always work on yourself. Always try to be a better version of yourself. There is, there is something to be said for that. Like we always want to be moving forward. I don't think that it has to be at rapid speed. I think we need to do it where we're comfortable. That's it. Because if we're not comfortable doing it, we're just not going to do it, right? If we don't make it work for us, we're not going to do it. So we need to do that. But quit buying the fucking Dunkin' Donuts and the Starbucks. Make a cup of coffee at home, pour it in your cup, and take that time that you would be sitting in the drive-thru at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or, I don't know, I'm a Tim Hortons fan myself, so take that time and walk out to, your back door and watch the sunrise. Instead of staring at the back of somebody else's fucking vehicle. When you're constantly looking at your watch like, oh God, I'm going to be late for work. That's that time and that drive-through is time you'll never get back, right? We never get time back. So every second that takes by is important. We need to be mindful of how fast time's going. Don't put stuff off. There we go. There's another one. Don't put stuff off. Don't put things off. Just do them. I'm not saying, put yourself in poverty by doing them. And these could be things that don't even cost any money. Go out and take a walk. Build, if you have a passion at home that you enjoy doing or a hobby you want to start, do it. Do it now. That's the main idea here is to do it now. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. Everybody can sit there and say, oh, well, it's not the right time, or, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not trying to throw shade. Really not. But there are so many people in this world that, when it comes to having kids, start a family, or even finding a significant other. Oh, well, it's not the right time. I want to focus on my career. What the fuck are you? You are wasting. Listen, tomorrow is never promised. What are you doing? Like, why can't you do all of it? Why can't you focus on your career while finding someone to share life with? Why can't you do that? Is it not important? Is it not manageable? Are you so encompassed in your work that you are you're letting your life just drift away? That's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. And we hear that a lot. We find these couples that get together, and again, well, we want to own, a 6,000 square foot home, and we want, a boat, and we want this, and we want that. We're just not ready to have kids yet. Okay, and I'm not saying that you should be having kids and become a burden on your community or your government or or the citizens. However, many of these people wait, and then they get to a point where they can't have kids. So all that time that you waited and waited, you fucking pissed it away. You pissed the opportunity away because you just didn't do it now. Sometimes there's something to be said with just fucking doing it and figuring the shit out. You know, just do it. You know, fucking Nike, which I fucking hate Nike, but just do it, right? We'll fake it till you make it. Figure the shit out as you go. All that's important, it can be done. And no, it's not always successful, and no, you know, it can be a fucking struggle, but you're doing it. You're fucking doing it. You're not wasting time. Yeah, for sure. So, I hope these words are, you know, towards the end here are encouraging, and you know, I'm sure there's a lot of men that listen to this show that are, you know, we're all around the same age. We're all moving into 40, and your ideals start to change. And I mean, fuck, half the time I still think I'm fucking like stuck at 18 years old. Like I still feel like a kid. You know, when I'm speaking to certain people, or then I look in the fucking mirror and I got a gray fucking beard. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not a kid anymore, right? But I'm stuck in this perception that maybe I am. And I think that's good use of your time too. Remember to, you know, embrace your youth. Embrace your youth. You don't have to, you know, loosen up the tie a little bit. You know, relax. You know, to sit down and take this concept, take this idea, right, and make it yours. Figure out if this is something. Did I spark a light bulb in your head today by talking about this? Like, are you just going through, and now I'm telling you about this, and you're like, holy fuck, I let half my life fucking go by at this point, you know, and you know, I want to do this, and I want to do, like, you know, me at this point, you know, it's one of my favorite movies. Has Robert Redford and Nick Nolte in it. It's a great movie, and it's it really kind of shows you perception of time. That's almost what the whole fucking movie is based on, is how time was allowed to slip away. It's called A Walk in the Woods, and it's Robert Redford and Nick Nolte, and they're elderly. And after Robert Redford goes to a funeral of a friend of his, he realizes that, like, he's missed out on wanting to accomplish stuff, right? Missed out on experience, right? And he wants to accomplish this before he passes away. And he decides Nick Nolte invites himself, kind of. They're going to hike the Appalachian Trail. And I mean, they're elderly. These two are elderly, but they, you know, this is what they're set out to do. And no, they didn't complete the whole thing. But the important thing is that they recognized what they're missing out on, or what they're missing. They decided to do something about it, and they tried it, and didn't get as far as they wanted to, but it was still an achievement. You know, don't let a funeral dictate what you're missing out on life. or in life. Yeah, don't do that. No regrets. Don't have regrets. So let's sit down this week, kind of ponder this idea, do a personal inventory of shit, and list things that you want to do and have done, and keep time. Obviously, be conscious of time, and see if you're missing something. See if you're have you done everything you want to do, or are you just that guy slaving away at 2 jobs trying to pay for that new boat that you never get to fucking use? All right. Anyway, I'll end it here. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Sorry for such a dark idea, but I hope this is inspirational. We only get so much time on this earth, and we really need to take a hold of it and choose very wisely what we do with it. But again, thank you for tuning in to Adventures in Dudeness. I'm glad you took the time to listen to the episode and joining me on the show. Please subscribe, share with your friends, family, etc. Leave me a rating, thumbs up, 5-star rating, whatever, what have you, depending on where you're listening. Leave some comments. Just help me out and spread the show. As always, you can find me on Instagram, over on X, YouTube, Odyssey now. I think Rumble too, actually. Yeah, Rumble as well. So all those places. I don't have a ton of video content up yet, but on YouTube, the podcast is over there. You would know that if you are listening off YouTube right now. But yeah, I will. I will see everybody or speak to everybody next week, and enjoy your week. Have a good week at work or at home or whatever you do. And always remember, take care of yourselves and each other.